Hollywood has always worshipped stars, but in 2025, some of those stars have crashed harder than ever. From explosive lawsuits and disturbing leaked footage to outrageous egos and shocking betrayals, these once-revered celebrities have become the most despised names in the industry. Blake Lively's courtroom chaos, JoJo Siwa's baffling transformation, and Kanye West's never-ending spiral are just the beginning. What drove fans to turn their backs on them? And who committed the unforgivable? Get ready to uncover the scandals, lies, and jaw-dropping downfalls behind the 25 most hated celebrities of 2025, because fame never guarantees forgiveness. Blake Lively. The legal battle between Blake Lively and director co-star Justin Baldoni truly shook Hollywood as 2024 ended, and its repercussions continue to strongly resonate into this year, 2025. Lively sued Baldoni, accusing him of causing severe emotional distress and orchestrating a social media smear campaign. In response, Baldoni did not hesitate to countersue Lively, her famous husband Ryan Reynolds, and their agent for a massive $400 million alleging defamation, civil extortion, and interference with his career. This golden couple of Hollywood is facing a media nightmare worse than ever, as the lawsuits escalate, severely damaging the public image they meticulously built. Not stopping there, Blake Lively's promotional approach for the movie, It Ends With Us, also faced a wave of fierce criticism. Although the film addresses a heavy and sensitive topic like domestic violence and psychological trauma, many felt she chose the wrong tone in interviews. Lively was perceived as overly superficial and self-promotional, making the public uncomfortable. She was also criticized for encouraging fans to wear floral outfits to screenings and for using promotional appearances to advertise her wine and hair care brands, an action deemed tactless and completely inappropriate for the film's serious theme. All these controversies have pushed her onto the list of the most disliked stars of 2025. JoJo Siwa. JoJo Siwa has undergone a dizzying transformation, from a beloved child star to one of the most polarizing figures in the entertainment industry today. In 2025, her radical image overhaul continues to leave longtime fans confused and perplexed. Although she has defended her change as an artistic expression, a necessary rebirth, critics argue that she is trying too hard to be cool and that her new persona looks ridiculous and unnatural. She once said, "I used to be the rainbow sparkle and now I'm the dark sparkle," a statement meant to be edgy, but which many found inappropriate. Many also dislike that JoJo Siwa, despite being 21 and having the physique of an adult athlete, still dresses, acts, and speaks like a child. This is considered forced, strange, and annoying to the audience. Her personality is accused of being loud, overbearing, and even rude, even to her own family. She frequently brags, flaunts her wealth, and behaves like a spoiled child, lacking moderation. Siwa's talent is also heavily questioned. Her music is accused of excessive auto-tune, and her branded merchandise is considered overpriced for its quality. Even some fans were uncomfortable with her overly sexualized Karma music video, which was seen as an awkward and offensive attempt to rebrand. Another moment that made the internet collectively frown was her confident claim that she invented queer pop, a genre that has existed for a long time with a rich history. Furthermore, Siwa vehemently defended Abby Lee Miller, the controversial dance coach from Dance Moms, despite clear evidence of Abby's verbal abuse, racism, and cruelty towards children and parents. Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was once an iconic face of professional wrestling, a legend admired by millions of fans worldwide. However, his glorious legacy has been severely overshadowed, primarily due to a leaked audio recording revealing extremely offensive racial language. According to a joint investigation by National Enquirer and Radar Online, Hogan was recorded using numerous derogatory comments, including the despicable, offensive racial language, in a sex tape made in 2008. In 2025, Hogan continues to make headlines for less than favorable reasons. Fans in Montgomery, New York, publicly stated that he abruptly left a scheduled appearance, leaving them stranded after hours of hopeless waiting. Hogan also became entangled in a bitter public dispute between his ex-wife Linda and estranged daughter Brooke, exposing deep family rifts. All of these factors have contributed to Hulk Hogan becoming one of the most disliked figures. Are you watching from the US, the UK, or somewhere totally unexpected? Comment your country. Alec Baldwin and Hilaria Baldwin. The Baldwin family is no stranger to public scrutiny, and 2025 is no exception as they continue to be involved in numerous controversies. The couple caused a wave of outrage after Hilaria snapped at Alec for interrupting her during a red carpet interview that went viral on social media. This action was considered unprofessional and ungraceful, damaging their image. However, the biggest and most obvious reason people turned their backs on Alec Baldwin was the fatal shooting of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins on the set of Rust in 2021, a heartbreaking tragedy that claimed a life. Baldwin claimed he did not pull the trigger, but a subsequent FBI investigation completely refuted this statement, asserting that the gun could not have fired without the trigger being pulled. The lawsuits, accusations, and subsequent media smokescreens made Baldwin appear either seriously negligent, a liar, or both, eroding public trust. Baldwin is also known for his notorious temper, a weakness demonstrated through multiple incidents. Whether it's rudely yelling at paparazzi, shoving reporters, or even being arrested for assaulting a man in a parking dispute in 2018, he has a long list of incidents stemming from uncontrolled rage. Then there's the infamous voicemail sent to his 11-year-old daughter Ireland in 2007, which led to Baldwin being labeled an absolute jerk. In it, he called her a rude, thoughtless little pig, simply because she didn't answer his call, an action criticized as emotional abuse towards a child. Sophia Gascon. Sophia Gascon made history as the first openly transgender person nominated in an acting category at the Oscars, a remarkable achievement. However, this success was quickly overshadowed by unnecessary controversies. Gascon initially faced criticism for ill-considered social media comments about the Best Picture-nominated film I'm Still Here and fellow Best Actress nominee Fernanda Torres. She later had to apologize for implying Torres was involved in online negativity, demonstrating a lack of control in her statements. Meanwhile, older offensive posts unexpectedly surfaced, including insensitive comments about George Floyd, a victim of police violence, which angered the public. Although Gascon deleted the posts and deactivated her accounts, the controversy caused serious repercussions, and she remains a storm stick of debate as the year progresses, showing the difficulty in regaining public favor. Kanye West. Once considered uncancelable, Kanye West's ongoing controversies, marked by shocking offensive statements, comments, erratic behavior, and unpredictable stunts, have solidified his position as one of the most polarizing figures in popular culture. In 2009, he stormed the stage at the MTV Video Music Awards and interrupted Taylor Swift's acceptance speech, declaring that Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time, a tactless and disrespectful act. People did not accept that, and even former President Obama called him an asshole. In 2015, he attempted a similar stunt at the Grammys when Beck won Album of the Year over Beyoncé, once again demonstrating a lack of fair play. In 2016, Kanye delivered a bizarre 17-minute speech on stage in Sacramento during a concert, attacking Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Hillary Clinton, and even Mark Zuckerberg before abruptly ending the show and cancelling the rest of his St. Pablo tour, indicating psychological instability. People also dislike him, comparing himself to Jesus Christ, even wearing a crown of thorns on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine in 2006 and calling himself Jesus, an act considered arrogant and disrespectful to religion. And some dislike him for his offensive statement sentiments, a serious and sensitive issue. During and after his divorce from Kim Kardashian, Kanye continuously harassed her and her then-boyfriend Pete Davidson, releasing concerning music videos depicting violence against Davidson, posting private family matters on Instagram, and accusing Kim of refusing him access to their children, all of which gained him more detractors and led to him being seen as a manipulator. By 2025, Kanye had caused outrage by selling highly offensive t-shirts featuring hate symbols on his website. He also faced fierce backlash for his wife Bianca Censori's near-naked appearance on the Grammy red carpet, which was allegedly Kanye's idea, sparking controversy over disrespect and exploitation of his wife. Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs is currently deep in an endless legal maelstrom after a series of surveillance camera videos leaked in early 2025 showed him assaulting artist Cassie Ventura, who had previously sued him with allegations of sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. The clip sparked intense public outrage, leading to an unprecedented wave of boycotts in Diddy's career. As of mid-June 2025, Combs has been fully investigated by the US Department of Justice and the FBI, facing a host of serious charges including human trafficking, interstate prostitution, sexual coercion, financial fraud, and using drugs to control victims. The federal investigation highlights a sophisticated criminal system that Diddy is alleged to head, using his fame and wealth to organize freak-offs, alleged illicit parties that many victims describe as real hell. Notably, a new indictment released during a May 2025 hearing in New York showed that Diddy is accused of leading a mafia-style criminal enterprise, involved in bribing police, intimidating witnesses, and using his power to silence victims for years. Although Combs continuously denies all accusations and has not yet been criminally convicted, his public image has completely collapsed. Fashion houses, music brands, and media platforms have all ceased cooperation. The media and public opinion alike call him the most hated artist in America in 2025, a bitter but inevitable title, as every piece of truth is exposed and every victim bravely speaks out. With the case still expanding and new witnesses appearing, the name Diddy is now associated with disgust, abuse, and betrayal of trust. What do you think of this list? Is there any star among them that particularly enrages you? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro was once an untouchable icon of Hollywood, but in 2025 he has become the center of a wave of criticism, and not for his acting talent. People hate De Niro for treating employees like trash. Former assistant Graham Chase Robinson took him to court, exposing a series of sexist and verbally abusive behaviors. Bizarre demands like making her button his shirts, scratch his back, or wake him up every morning made many people shudder. He's known for his temper, having walked out of interviews, thrown objects, and lost his cool in front of the press. One of the most shocking losses of control occurred in 2014, when he abruptly left a Radio Times interview, leaving the impression of a disrespectful person no longer in control of himself. Furthermore, De Niro was accused of being so stingy as to refuse fair pay and frequently calling subordinates bad children. Ultimately, his company was forced to pay $1.2 million in compensation, an outcome that showed the accusations were not baseless. In addition, De Niro is considered politically obsessed to the point of being out of control. Instead of maintaining moderation as in his prime, he frequently erupted on television, publicly cursing about former President Trump and monopolizing interview time just to vent political anger. Recently, his choice of roles has been deemed disastrous. From The War with Grandpa to Dirty Grandpa and The Big Wedding, all made audiences exclaim, "Does he really no longer care about art?" These films were criticized as superficial performances serving the sole purpose of easy money. Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is heavily criticized for losing the authenticity that once made him beloved. His current image is seen as completely scripted, degenerating into a soulless advertising machine. His social media is no longer a place to connect with fans, but rather a stage for massive product marketing campaigns, making the public feel exploited. The disastrous failure of Black Adam further worsened his image. He had promised it would be a great turning point for the DC universe, but when the film failed both critically and commercially, he tried to deny reality. Instead of admitting mistakes, Johnson is accused of fabricating a false success story and manipulating financial data to deceive public opinion, an act viewed as blatant fraud. The humble guy image he cultivated has also been exposed as fake. He is accused of demanding script revisions to ensure his character was always strong, refusing any roles that didn't glorify his invincible image, and even preventing Black Adam from appearing alongside Shazam, behavior deemed selfish and lacking in cooperative spirit. Johnson's monotonous acting ability is also a major drawback. No matter what movie he stars in, Jungle Cruise, Red Notice, Rampage, Jumanji, or Black Adam, audiences only see a boringly repetitive version. His constant adherence to safe role models has made his career monotonous, lacking breakthroughs, and increasingly losing favor with viewers. Amber Heard. The notorious legal battle with Johnny Depp turned Amber Heard into a global focal point of criticism. She accused Depp of abuse in 2016, leading to him losing his legendary role in Pirates of the Caribbean and numerous major contracts. But by the 2022 trial, the truth completely reversed. Shocking audio recordings were released in which Heard admitted hitting Depp and even mocked his pain, causing her image to collapse disastrously. The jury determined she had defamed Depp, and the public considered her a liar, cruelly destroying an innocent person's career. Heard was seen as someone who exploited the Me Too movement to portray herself by publishing false articles in the Washington Post, claiming to be a victim of abuse. Meanwhile, trial recordings showed she was the perpetrator of violence, even laughing at the possibility of others believing Depp was a victim, infuriating the public due to her blatant manipulative behavior. The charity scandal further pushed Heard into hypocrisy. She had pledged to donate the entire $7 million divorce settlement to charity, but it was revealed in court that she had not done so. When confronted, Heard equivocated with the phrase "pledging is donating," a wordplay deemed a blatant lie. The most disgusting incident was the feces on the bed affair. Depp testified that Heard had defecated on his bed after an argument. Although she denied it and blamed the dog, a security witness confirmed it was human feces, not only infuriating the public, but also disgusting them with what was seen as a sick act of revenge. Throughout the trial, Heard continuously blamed others, from her former assistant to her legal team, even dragging Kate Moss into the story. This irresponsible blaming behavior led to her being labeled a manipulator, untrustworthy, and one of the most disliked artists of 2025. Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez is criticized for stealing vocals without giving credit, an act considered anti-artistic. The song Play was written and demoed by Christina Milian, but Lopez kept Milian's vocals in the final version without notification. Her shanty also confirmed her vocals appeared in I'm Real and Ain't It Funny, but were not properly credited, infuriating public opinion over Jennifer Lopez's disregard for others' efforts. Her reputation was further damaged by a series of industry remarks. Meghan McCain once described her as extremely unpleasant. Lopez's use of the offensive racial language in the 2001 remix of I'm Real and calling herself Negrita in the song Lonely with Maluma sparked fierce controversy due to potential racism. She is also accused of treating dancers poorly, viewing them as temporary decorations. The most shocking incident was when Jennifer Lopez refused to hire dancers born under the Virgo zodiac sign, an unbelievable and irrational form of discrimination. Many former dancers complained about the cold and disrespectful attitude they endured while working with her. Additionally, she is accused of style plagiarism. She once copied Beyoncé's Drunk in Love performance at the 2023 Grammys without acknowledgement. Her blatant imitation of Madonna's Super Bowl style also frustrated audiences due to a lack of creativity, merely borrowing ideas from others. Her selfish behavior was exposed in the documentary Halftime 2022, when Lopez called sharing the stage with Shakira at the 2020 Super Bowl the worst idea in the world, showing her demand for control and unwillingness to share the spotlight. Her past relationship with Sean Diddy Combs and involvement in the 1999 nightclub shooting incident continue to cast suspicion on her image. Furthermore, her 2020 Super Bowl halftime performance was criticized by numerous parents for being too provocative and inappropriate for a family event, further intensifying the wave of criticism against her. Have these stars surprised you with their scandals? Which detail shocked you the most? Leave a comment. Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres once crowned herself the Queen of Kindness, but audiences soon realized it was just a shiny veneer covering a hard-to-swallow truth. Want to know what Ellen is really like? Ask Dakota Johnson, who left Ellen speechless live on air after Ellen pretended she wasn't invited to Dakota's birthday party. Yes, that was the moment that exposed Ellen's famous pretense to the whole world. But the act didn't stop at the talk show. Behind the scenes, where Ellen still preached kindness, many former employees accused her of creating a suffocatingly toxic work environment, where contempt, psychological bullying, and a powerful star attitude were commonplace. And if you think she was only rude to staff, remember the classic moment when Ellen forced Mariah Carey to drink alcohol live on air to prove that Mariah wasn't pregnant. A shamefully insensitive act, especially when Mariah later confirmed she had suffered a miscarriage. When the wave of outrage could no longer be suppressed, Ellen chose the solution of blaming subordinates. A series of producers were fired while Ellen played the "I knew nothing" role, as if she herself had no control over or involvement with the show bearing her name. This way of handling things left many shaking their heads. From kindness to showing her true colors, what an interesting journey, Ellen. James Corden. James Corden was once a golden face in the talk show world, always appearing with a radiant smile, friendly jokes, and a national friend demeanor. But it turned out that was just a carefully staged role, while backstage was a completely different picture full of arrogance, rudeness, and disrespect. Colleagues and staff who worked with Corden have repeatedly accused him of having a star attitude, looking down on others, and often behaving like a diva. The most famous incident being banned from Balthazar restaurant in New York after Corden yelled at a waiter over an imperfect omelette. Yes, an egg. That was the boundary that caused his polite mask to shatter into pieces. And then came Carpool Karaoke, the show that made his name soar. Viewers thought Corden was actually driving and singing sincerely, but then the truth was exposed. He wasn't driving, he was just sitting in a car being towed like a puppet. When the behind-the-scenes video leaked, audiences felt blatantly deceived. Furthermore, he once insulted Patrick Stewart right on the awards stage, a British legend with a disrespectful and cheap, sarcastic attitude. And if you think Corden is only unpleasant in real life, he's no better on screen. His disastrous role in Cinderella 2021 made audiences create a petition specifically asking him never to participate in musicals again. That wasn't criticism. It was a slap in the face from the very people who once supported him. Do you think James Corden destroyed his career with his true personality? Or do you see him as a victim of the media? Comment below. We want to know what you think about the unbraked fall of this karaoke king, Danny Masterson. The biggest reason people hate Masterson, he is a prisoner. Sentenced to 30 years in prison for serious sexual offenses against two women between 2001 and 2003, Danny Masterson is now one of the most despised names in public opinion. Serious, undeniable sex crimes have transformed him from a famous actor into a symbol of moral decay in Hollywood. Masterson was also exposed for deliberately using the Scientology Church to silence victims, involving religion in covering up personal sins. The complicity of the Church of Scientology in protecting him from legal accountability infuriated public opinion. Despite his heavy sentence, Masterson maintained an arrogant, unapologetic attitude, always portraying himself as the victim of a smear campaign, further fueling public hatred for his brazenness. Did Danny Masterson ruin his own career, yes or no? Drop your answer below. Was it his true personality, or was he just a victim of media hype? Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, a media queen, yet she has become a symbol of detachment and pretense in the eyes of the public. Her billionaire fortune has made her a target of outrage in an era of inequality, especially when she called for working people to donate to Maui wildfire relief, while personally contributing only a paltry sum, an act criticized as blatant hypocrisy. Discovered to have close ties with notorious figures like Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, Oprah was dragged into a swirl of suspicion, from shared photos to private events she attended, leading many to question whether she truly knew nothing. Oprah's interviewing style is condemned as too intrusive, even cruel. Many believe she exploits others' emotions for views. Monique once publicly accused Oprah of suppressing and manipulating her, revealing a cold and calculating face behind the friendly facade. Chris Brown. Chris Brown still cannot shake off the stain from the 2009 assault on Rihanna, a shocking event with images of her bruised face that infuriated the entire world. Although time has passed, that violent act remains the reason why many firmly refuse to forgive him. His violent tendencies did not stop there. Chris Brown continued to be involved in numerous brawls and disputes with artists like Drake, Frank Ocean, and the Migos group, painting a portrait of an aggressive man, easily losing control and always ready to attack. He seems to thrive on drama. Endless feuds with Drake, Soulja Boy, Offset, and even ex-girlfriend Karrueche Tran have linked Chris Brown's name more to scandal than music, making the public increasingly weary and exhausted. James Franco. James Franco has been erased from public favor due to a series of serious allegations of sexual misconduct, culminating in accusations that he used his acting school, Studio 4, as a tool to prey on young women. These accusations of abuse of power not only caused a stir, but also led to a lawsuit that Franco quietly settled in 2021, demonstrating the credibility of the claims. Franco's apologies were considered superficial, insincere, and unconvincing. Even his closest friend, Seth Rogen, definitively turned his back, publicly severing ties, a move that clearly showed the severity of the alleged behaviors. Additionally, Franco was once caught flirting with a 17-year-old girl via private messages when he was 35, a shocking act, heavily condemned morally and further damaging his image. Jared Leto. Jared Leto is criticized for pushing method acting to bizarre and disturbing extremes. During the filming of Suicide Squad, he was accused of sending gruesome gifts to co-stars, such as a dead pig and used condoms, behavior deemed sick, disrespectful, and far beyond professional boundaries. When cast as the Joker, expectations for Leto were very high, but his performance was judged as ridiculous, forced, and a complete failure in continuing the character's legacy, drawing fierce criticism from both critics and fans. Not stopping there, Leto is also suspected of exploiting fan loyalty with Mars Island, where fans pay thousands of dollars to participate in an experience described as a cult, where he himself is worshipped. His management of the band 30 Seconds to Mars raised concerns about psychological manipulation and unchecked power. Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith is heavily criticized by the public for continuously damaging Will Smith's image, despite always portraying herself as a strong and wise woman. On Red Table Talk, she admitted to having an entanglement with August Alsina while still legally married to Will, an act seen as publicly humiliating her husband for personal media gain. Jada's romantic involvement with August Alsina was shocking, not only because she was married, but also because August was struggling with mental health issues at the time, leading the relationship to be viewed as an exploitation of a vulnerable person, with the controversial moral image of a cougar. When Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars, public opinion not only blamed him, but also directed anger towards Jada, who was seen as the cause of her husband's uncontrolled action, as if the entire incident was a result of the pressure she exerted. She also annoyed the public with her ceaseless statements about Tupac Shakur, her ex-lover, leaving many confused and tired of her strange family dynamics, which are consistently judged as complex and disrespectful to her current partner. What do you think of this list? Is there any star among them that particularly enrages you? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett became a symbol of deceit and manipulation after the shocking 2019 fake hate crime scandal, when he claimed he was attacked by two white Trump supporters in a racist and homophobic act. The entire US was outraged. But the truth was soon exposed. Smollett had hired two personal trainers to stage the entire incident, creating a dangerous charade to boost his profile, an act deemed unethical and socially divisive. While many others would choose to apologize and admit fault, Smollett chose to double down on his stubbornness. He continued to assert he was a victim, despite clear evidence, further infuriating the public due to his dishonesty and brazenness. Not only did he damage his own reputation, but Smollett was also heavily criticized for wasting public resources, especially the resources of the Chicago Police Department, which spent over $130,000 investigating a non-existent case. In a city already struggling with real crime, this act was considered unforgivable. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg is disliked for her rude and contemptuous attitude towards others. She acts as if The View is her personal stage, with co-hosts merely supporting actors, making audiences feel she disrespects colleagues and likes to control everything her way. She once caused outrage by stating that the Holocaust was not about race, a statement deemed profoundly ignorant and extremely insensitive regarding one of humanity's most brutal tragedies. She also publicly defended Roman Polanski, who drugged and sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl and then fled the US to avoid conviction. Speaking out in defense of a sex offender was considered unacceptable, making Whoopi's image increasingly offensive. Jack Black is criticized for his comedic style, which is considered overly exaggerated and forced. He doesn't just tell jokes, he screams. He's not just funny, he's over the top like a cartoon character, full of exaggerated movements and energy that make viewers feel exhausted rather than entertained. He appears continuously without rest. Even without major projects, Jack is ubiquitous on YouTube, TikTok, and interviews, making audiences feel overwhelmed, as if they are being forced to watch Jack Black everywhere. His acting is considered one note. Whether it's Dewey Finn in School of Rock, Poe in Kung Fu Panda, or R.L. Stine in Goosebumps, audiences only see a repetitive version of Jack Black. The same expressions. Timothée Chalamet was once Hollywood's golden boy, every director's muse and every fan's heartthrob. But in 2025, he's landed on the most hated list, and for reasons you'll never guess. It started with his jaw-dropping outburst at the SAG Awards, where his self-proclaimed ambition to become one of the greats rubbed the industry the wrong way, fueling accusations of arrogance and egotism. Then came the infamous Saturday Night Live scandal, when Timothy's tasteless joke about the late President Jimmy Carter left audiences furious, branding him as insensitive and completely tone-deaf. Not to mention he made headlines for parking a Lime bike illegally at a London premiere, turning even a minor mistake into a PR nightmare. Behind the scenes, whispers about his so-called diva behavior on set have only made things worse. Once celebrated for his raw talent, Chalamet's fall from grace has been swift and brutal. Jeff Bridges, the friendship that went cold. The name that shocked many the most was Jeff Bridges. He was once called a friend by Sam Elliott. This name also left the deepest scar in Sam Elliott's heart. In the past, there was a bond between them. It seemed unbreakable. Sam once said they were as if cut from the same cloth. They were two men who didn't need grand dialogue or flashy spotlights to make an impression. What made them stand out was their presence. It was a quiet power. Not everyone possessed this power. They were the kind of people who could stir emotions. They didn't need to say a loud word. Both had accompanied each other in the masterpiece The Big Lebowski. This film gradually became a cultural icon. On screen, they were captivating, like two sides of a coin. Off screen, there were long conversations, there were shared laughs, and a friendship built on trust and respect. But then, something cracked. It wasn't loud, not dramatic. It was like a silent crack spreading gradually over the years. No one said it, but both felt the change. Since Jeff won the Oscar for Crazy Heart, Sam was said to have seen a different person gradually emerge. Jeff, who once had a rustic, self-possessed demeanor, suddenly he appeared on the covers of glamorous fashion magazines. He wore vests with political slogans. He attended press conferences that were meticulously curated. Someone close to Sam recounted that Jeff became more distant. He became less real and more shaped. For Sam, that was a sign that the honesty that once made Jeff who he was, it was being replaced by Hollywood's gloss. The rustic spirit seemed to have been overshadowed by the light of fame. The belief that work should speak for itself also seemed to be, in a rare instance when asked about former co-stars. Sam left a loaded statement. Some people change, others just show who they always were. Many believe that was a direct jab at Bridges. Jeff remained silent. He maintained his silence, true to his calm, polite style, but that silence resonated more than any words. Both stopped appearing at joint events. They no longer supported each other's projects. The artistic brotherhood of yesteryear quietly receded into the past. For Sam, the pain didn't come from ego or from rivalry. It wasn't about fame, or politics, or the spotlight. It was a deeper sense of loss. It was the erosion of a bond. He once thought that bond was unbreakable. It was a bond that was once strong. Not because of glamour, but because of shared values. And when that relationship fractured, it didn't explode like an argument, but bled slowly, like a wound that never healed. Those close to him said Sam felt abandoned, not because of betrayal, but because of a silent drift, and the painful truth that his former companion had now stepped into another world. That sorrow was perhaps what hurt Sam the most. It was the sorrow of a fading brotherhood. For him, losing Jeff wasn't just losing a friend, but losing faith in authenticity. in the world they once conquered together. Carefully hidden blacklist. 6 names in the industry whom he will never forgive. Could it be that the very faces audiences once adored were the ones who disappointed Sam Elliott to his core? Today, he is ready to reveal all. Prepare yourselves, because the names on this list will make you never look at them the same way again. The truth is waiting to be uncovered. Kevin Costner, the cowboy he couldn't stand. Sam Elliott built his career on authenticity. Every role, every line of his dialogue was earned through lived experience. He didn't just play cowboys, he was a true cowboy. Sam grew up on ranches. He absorbed the dust and discipline of the Wild West. Sam brought to the screen a raw, experienced and vibrant truth. You could smell the leather in his voice. You could also feel the years in his eyes. You believed him. That's because he was a real deal. In contrast, Kevin Costner appeared. He was like a Hollywood version of a cowboy. Costner brought spotless boots. His lines were polished. The lighting in his films was always perfect. So Sam was not very impressed. This happened when he saw Kevin Costner cast as a cowboy in Wyatt Earp. Later, Costner was the head of the family in Yellowstone. For him, Costner was the image of a Hollywood-manufactured cowboy. He wasn't real. He once told a friend, "It's not the West, it's a soundstage." Sam felt Costner played the rancher role like a game of make-believe. He thought Costner was as if he was cosplaying something he didn't truly understand. Fans praised Yellowstone. They lauded intense drama, grand cinematography, and Costner's powerful, gravelly voice. But Sam shook his head. He didn't see it as a reflection of the West he knew. Sam considered it a glossy fantasy. It was designed for people who had never dug a fence or those who had never smelled cattle at dawn. To Sam, it was a filtered version of reality. It was also romanticized. Sam Elliott reached his breaking point. That was when he was invited to make a cameo in Yellowstone itself. But he flatly refused. He called the show a soap opera in a cowboy hat. This refusal was not just about the script. It was a powerful statement from him. It was a subtle yet clear rejection of Yellowstone's very idea. For Elliott, Western films were not just entertainment. They were also a moral code. He valued resilience. He also valued restraint. The kind of calm silence that carries more weight than words was also important to him. Costner, Sam felt, brought the glamour. He brought the charm and the appeal of big-budget projects. But Costner lacked soul. Even when both were in the same room, the tension was thick. A producer once said that they never yelled, but the coldness between them could freeze a desert, and that clash would only be the beginning. No direct conflict erupted publicly, but Sam's unspoken distance and underlying disdain always remained. It was directed towards how Costner portrayed the cowboy image. Sam's view on authenticity in acting remained steadfast. His view on the cowboy image also remained. He saw Costner as a prime example of superficiality. Costner was the Hollywood version of what Sam cherished. This was a profound difference in their professional philosophies. This was an uncompromising rejection. It was against anything that lacked authenticity. It was also against the very essence of the West. The West was where he had lived and absorbed everything. And are you watching from the US, the UK, or somewhere totally unexpected? Comment your country. Elliott's core values and legacy. Sam Elliott's strong opinions about these actors have deep roots. They stem from his philosophy of life and work. This philosophy has shaped who he is. For Sam Elliott, acting is a sacred art. It's not a popularity contest or a playground for superficial people chasing fame, or those seeking attention with gimmicks. Instead, it demands discipline. It demands patience and an ability to touch true emotions. He believed that every role must come from somewhere very real, very deep. It had to be earned through lived experience, not just by memorizing lines. You could feel the smell of leather in his voice. You could also feel the years in his eyes. Because he was the real deal, Sam Elliott is a defender of a fading code of cinema. In a world where storytelling is becoming a performance, where tradition is being sold for clicks, he craves presence, stillness, and authenticity. These are qualities that carry more weight than any flowery words or ostentation. Personal pain has shaped Sam Elliott. That's the man we know today. He was born on August 9, 1944. His birthplace was Sacramento, California. When Sam was 18, his father passed away. He died of a heart attack. This was a life-changing moment for him. What was even more painful was that his father died. He died thinking I was a total fool, because I wanted to be an actor, that pain instead of extinguishing his dream. It became a powerful motivation. That motivation pushed him forward. Sam shared. My father was a good, practical man, but he was from a different era. His father also didn't give up on his dreams, even when Sam's grandfather told his father, "You've got a snowball's chance in hell of having a career in Hollywood." But Sam never stopped believing. Unwavering belief wasn't enough. To pursue his dream, Sam had to work hard. He did so to survive. That meant he had to shovel cement before holding a script. He had to build his dream with cement and grit. Life in Los Angeles wasn't easy at first. Sam Elliott didn't become a star overnight. To make ends meet, he worked in construction. Ironically, that very job helped him. It helped him get his first big break. One day, he helped a family friend with a cement job. Everything changed. That friend happened to be an assistant director. He invited Sam to visit a film set. That's how Sam got his first taste of the film industry. Sam once joked, "My big break was pouring cement." This real-life experience molded him. It shaped his steadfastness, his honesty, and his harsh view of fakery in Hollywood. Sam Elliott is also famous for staying away from social media. He doesn't use Twitter. He doesn't have Instagram. He doesn't even have email. For him, real connections are what matter. He noticed that everywhere people are looking at their phones and nobody's connecting with anybody. Sam prefers face-to-face conversations rather than screen time, and this has never harmed his reputation. People still recognize him, but what they often notice first isn't his face, but his voice. He said, "My voice is recognized before anything else." He knew from a young age that his voice was special. His philosophy is also very clear. He doesn't work for money or for fame, but for the story, the script, the emotion behind the role. He said, "It's not about working for the money. It's about what's on the page." Because of that mindset, he participated in some little-seen films, but he has no regrets. He is proud of the choices he has made. Sam also doesn't focus too much on his legacy. He doesn't worry about what people will say about him later. What matters to him is how he feels right now and the people he's working with. He said, "It's all about enjoying the process. And if you can't enjoy that, then you're doing it wrong." With such a background and life philosophy, Sam Elliott has set very high professional standards. And that's the reason. Why does he has this blacklist? We have gone through the list of 6 actors Sam Elliott hates or dislikes them. We also know the profound reasons, the reasons behind those strong emotions. His views are not personal animosity, but stem from a deep philosophy of life and work. He has built this philosophy over 6 decades. Leto, the insane method actor. What bothered Sam Elliott more than anything else was vanity. It wasn't confidence or dedication to the craft, but the kind of excessive self-aggrandizement. It turned art into a stage for the actor's ego, instead of serving the audience's emotions. Therefore, Sam saw no genius in Jared Leto. This happened when Jared Leto became famous for extreme method acting, from sending dead rats to co-stars, living as a character for weeks on end, to turning the film set into a psychological maze. For him, it was all just a gimmick. He cared little for sensational headlines or prestigious golden statues. What he saw was just a fake performance, cloaking vanity with the guise of talent. Sam didn't hesitate to call it theatrics disguised as talent. He said it seriously, without exaggeration. Behind the scenes, he was even blunter. Many close sources revealed. He once told a friend, if he needs that much effort to act, maybe he chose the wrong profession. For Sam, genuine acting didn't require fanfare or dramatic recounts of the immersive process. It was quiet, precise, and dignified embodiment. Not turning a film into a noisy circus, but bringing a character to life. Bringing it to life simply yet profoundly. Though Sam and Leto never stood together in front of the camera, industry insiders revealed that Sam was involved in the early development phase of a film. This film had a script he loved and a director he deeply respected. But when he heard Jared Leto was offered the lead role, Sam withdrew. No press release needed, no explanation. It was just a quiet withdrawal, but decisive. It wasn't just a career decision, but a statement of principle. For Sam Elliott, acting should not be a circus. It should be honest, quiet, and humane. It was the kind of art capable of touching hearts, not stunning with tricks. And Jared Leto, in Sam's eyes, was living proof. He showed that art had sometimes strayed too far from its roots. He represented a form of acting that Sam considered insincere. It shocked more than it conveyed, showed off more than it transformed. Ashton Kutcher, the actor who disgraced the profession. For Sam Elliott, acting was not simply a job, it was a sacred ritual. It demanded commitment. It demanded inner depth and a genuine reverence for each role. Sam always considered the stage and screen a holy place. It was not a side stage for fame-hungry individuals, nor for career-switching entrepreneurs or social media icons seeking quick fame. Every role, according to him, had to be earned. It had to be with sweat, experience, and with truth in the soul. That's why Sam was not at all convinced. This happened when Ashton Kutcher became a phenomenon with That 70s Show. Then Kutcher quickly plunged into a series of light romantic comedies, followed by sleek tech projects in Silicon Valley. In contrast, he felt uneasy, even a bit disdainful. For Sam, Kutcher's career was not just unserious, it was a values that he had fought to preserve. Both were invited to collaborate on Netflix's The Ranch series. Sam didn't object. As a professional, he arrived on set. He learned his lines. He performed his role, as he always did. But the atmosphere behind the scenes told a different story. From the early days, cracks began to form. The production team clearly felt the tension. It was a quiet suffocation. This happened even when not a single word of tension was uttered. Someone recounted that Sam often quietly shared with crew members. He did so in rare moments. He would just shake his head and utter a phrase like, "He's a good guy," but not a real actor. The problem wasn't Kutcher's personality. Sam never personally attacked anyone. What annoyed him was Kutcher's approach to roles. In Sam's eyes, Kutcher embodied a new Hollywood, where algorithms were more important than authenticity. A large follower count outweighed acting credentials. Charm, mimicry, and popularity were replacing discipline and emotional depth. For him, that wasn't evolution. That was decay. In Sam's eyes, the art of storytelling was being distorted. This was due to shortcuts, due to superficiality, and due to brands polished with data and PR. Viewers might feel a chemistry between the two male leads on screen. But Sam knew well, that was simply work. It was just a temporary disguise, nothing more. Kutcher often praised Sam in interviews. He called Sam a legend. He was also a respected mentor, but behind closed doors, Sam didn't have many kind words. Someone recounted that he once blurted out to a longtime friend, "He acts as if he just learned acting from a YouTube video." That wasn't hatred. That was a standard. Sam didn't harbor grudges. He was protecting a disappearing benchmark. It was a principle that demanded stillness. It demanded a real presence and sincerity in every gaze, every gesture. In the world he saw, storytelling was no longer art. It became a performance, where tradition was sold out for clicks. The Ranch might have won over a large number of fans, but behind the scenes there was no bond or respect, only endurance. Sam didn't seek enemies, but he also didn't remain silent. He didn't remain silent when he saw the art he loved being commercialized and diluted. For him, Ashton Kutcher was the symbol of that degradation. It was a new wave. He could never go along with this wave, a Hollywood that he hated. Benedict Cumberbatch, too British for the West, and a surprising apology. In 2021, Sam Elliott rocked the entertainment world again. He publicly and strongly criticized the film The Power of the Dog. These were not flowery words, nor were they diplomatic. They were not wrapped in vague compliments. His words were sharp, raw, and uncompromisingly blunt. They hit like a stray bullet in a quiet saloon. The words were loud, sudden, and impossible to ignore. But it wasn't just about the film's pacing. It wasn't about the film's artistic choices either. The criticism was personal. Sam directly targeted Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict was the British star of the film. Sam criticized with razor-sharp contempt. He publicly mocked Benedict's voice. He also mocked his demeanor. He called it a flimsy portrayal of a Western rancher. This is what he was famous for talking about. In a podcast appearance, Sam harshly questioned. His tone was mixed with frustration and disbelief. He asked, "What the hell does this Englishman know about the American West?" He believed that the power of the dog not only went off track, it also disrespected tradition. That tradition was what the film tried to emulate. Sam Elliott thought the film romanticized broken masculinity. He also said the film misunderstood the true meaning of the Western genre. For him, it wasn't about belittling a performance, he was defending a legacy. It was a genre built on quiet strength, hard-won wisdom, and a deeply personal moral code. The reaction was swift, it was also explosive. Cumberbatch's fans protested. Those who loved the modern psychological approach to masculinity in the film also protested. Social media exploded. Critics called Sam a relic of a bygone era. They said he was too stubborn to evolve. This happened to the genre he once helped define. They accused him of hindering innovation. They said he was clinging to outdated notions of masculinity. He also refused to make space for new voices, but Sam didn't bat an eye. He didn't issue a clarifying statement. He also didn't offer a revised explanation. He stood firm in his saddle. For him, the West was not an outfit. It was not a cinematic filter either. It was a code. It was a way of life that demanded truth. It didn't demand trendiness. He would not let anyone rewrite it, no matter how praised they were. Everything had to be under his scrutiny. Then Sam Elliott publicly apologized for his comments. At a Deadline event, he said, "I said some things that hurt people, and I feel terrible about that." He expressed regret. He regretted hurting the gay community. These people had been wonderful to him throughout his career. Sam also apologized directly to the cast of The Power of the Dog. He especially apologized to Benedict Cumberbatch. He admitted that he had not expressed himself well. Although the apology came late, it was very sincere. This detail complicates Sam's image. It shows that he is not just a rigid person. He has strong opinions, but he also has the ability to admit fault. This reflects the value of honesty that he always upheld. It also reflects his clear ego. Despite apologizing, his core views remained unchanged. That is about authenticity in acting and respect for Western tradition. He remained steadfast in his standards, no matter how controversial that was. Do you think a public apology from Sam Elliott is enough to change your view of him? Yes or no? Comment yes if it changed your mind, or no if it didn't. Nicolas Cage, too loud, too quirky. Sam Elliott always pursued subtlety. It was a non-negotiable standard in acting. For him, peak acting moments didn't come from shouting, nor from ostentatious actions. They lay in the simmering, where a fleeting glance was enough to silence the viewer. A prolonged silence was also enough, or just a line spoken at the right moment was enough. He once said that the soul of acting lay in restraint. It was an inner strength, not from volume or flamboyant gestures. Acting, according to Sam, didn't need to beg for attention. It had to make people unable to look away, even with silence. That's why Sam Elliott saw no genius. This happened when Nicolas Cage appeared like a whirlwind on screen. He had an explosive acting style. It was quirky and dramatic. His limbs flailed incessantly. His eyes always seemed on the verge of exploding. And there were unpredictable outbursts. He only saw chaos. In Sam's eyes, Cage didn't truly embody the character. He was performing a monologue. It was a one-man show. It overshadowed every other element of the scene, as if he wasn't playing a role, but was setting up his own stage in every frame. Even though both appeared in Ghost Rider, Sam always kept a clear distance on set. Polite? Yes. Respectful? Absolutely, but friendly, absolutely not. In many later interviews, Sam never mentioned specific names, but anyone perceptive understood who he was talking about. That's when he referred to actors who let their ego overshadow everything. These people turned every shot into a stage for themselves. They were always louder, more arrogant, and more flamboyant than they truly were. Close friends knew very well who the name behind those words was. It was Nicolas Cage. On one occasion, Sam was said to have privately shared with a longtime friend, "He's a firecracker, not a flame. He explodes loudly, but not hot enough to warm anyone." Nicolas Cage attracted a large number of loyal fans. He had an unpredictable craziness and intense energy. Meanwhile, Sam Elliott maintained his slow style. He was calm and profound. Sam believed that acting should invite the audience, invite them into the character's inner world. It shouldn't be a firework display that makes them recoil. In his eyes, Cage was a symbol of an alarming shift in modern cinema. It was the pursuit of shock rather than storytelling. It was a fondness for chaos just because it drew attention. He saw it as style, overwhelming substance. Acting was transformed into entertainment instead of art. Cage sometimes still drew praise from critics as a mad genius. He received many prestigious awards, but Sam Elliott remained unconvinced, not even for a moment. For him, no award was enough to cover up. Not enough to cover what he considered hollow theatrics because, according to Sam, true acting wasn't about temporary virality or visual shocks. It lay in going inward, truth, stillness, and human depth. These were values that he believed Cage had lost long ago. For Sam Elliott, Cage wasn't just an actor he disliked. He represented a type of acting that was off-standard. It lacked subtlety, lacked control, and lacked genuine emotion. Love this video? Show some love with a like and a subscribe. Hate it? A like would still be awesome, and your feedback in the comments will help me improve. From shocking legal scandals, hypocritical behavior to poor career choices, each star has their own story, leading to the collapse of their public image. Whether you agree or not, these stories are clear evidence of how quickly Hollywood's limelight can fade when hidden corners are exposed. We hope that these detailed analyses have provided you with a deeper insight into this complex world of celebrities. Have you ever felt uncomfortable with these stars for similar reasons, or do you have a different perspective on them? Let's discuss it in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next exciting stories.